presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are so.
Another cool, clear night in Washington, D.C. It's April in the ATL, by the way. 30 games in 30 days. The Braves continue their road trip here with the Washington Nationals. The cherry blossoms are in bloom. Hopefully a win is in the offing for the Braves, who begun the year 0-7. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe. Game 3 of our series. Hopefully it'll be as good as Game 2. Braves just came up a run short last night, and the Nationals at the last minute have made a pitching change. No Steven Strasburg, surprisingly, tonight.
He's supposed to be ill, so he's been scratched, and Tanner Roark will get the start instead and move up a day. He was scheduled to pitch tomorrow. Roark in the past has pitched very well against the Braves, but did not have a good start Thursday against Miami. It was a start that was interrupted, and he stayed in the game. It was an hour-and-a-half rain delay, but he still came back, had a rough number. But for Matt Whistler, I think his line was a lot better than it looks. 4 earned runs in 6+ innings. I thought he was outstanding in his first start against the Cardinals. Hopefully not too many walks tonight against this team that he last year had some trouble with.
Much more comfortable night for baseball in Washington. Hopefully the Braves will be smiling and shaking hands after Game 3. Lineups, first pitch. Braves and Nationals baseball from Nationals Park is coming right up.
Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by Chevrolet.
Nice crowd filing into Nationals Park for Game 3 of our 4-game series. Joe Simpson, Chip Carey with you here from our nation's capital. If you missed the announcement on Braves Live just a few moments ago, the Braves woke up to some very disappointing news. A statement on Hector Olivera, who was arrested at the team hotel earlier today. He has been placed on administrative leave by Major League Baseball. That's effective immediately. That process can last at least 7 days. And in the meantime, with Oliveira off the roster for now, Daniel Castro has been summoned from AAA and has joined the Braves here in Washington tonight. Freddie Gonzalez's lineup features Malik Smith leading things off. Tanner Roark, another tough customer, Joe, faces us in Nationals colors.
Tanner Roark, 29 years old, 6'2", 235. Out of the University of Illinois, but good numbers against the Braves in his career. 3-1, a 2.01 ERA.
Malik Smith 1 for 7 to start his big league career. Roark falls behind him at 2-0. Bob Davidson has the plate tonight. There's the first strike of the game for the Nationals right-hander.
Sinker slider from Roark. Can throw in the low 90s, but he's got to keep the ball down. Last season against the National League East, he had problems, needless to say. But a lot of that was he was a 15-game winner in 2014, and then with the addition of Max Scherzer, he got sent to the bullpen and didn't make very many starts. I think 11 in all. So he was bouncing back and forth between the rotation and relieving.
And he just came back to strike out Malik Smith for the first out of the ball game.
Pitch. Alex may have given up on that two-seamer a little quick.
That'll bring up Nick Markakis, the Braves right fielder, at 296. His last 6 hits have all been doubles. And he had a healthy cut there and fouled it back.
The Braves offense has been okay. Nothing outstanding, but it's been okay, and they certainly in some games have scored enough runs to win and should have won. But there are some guys in the lineup that got to pick it up. Freddie Freeman on deck is one of them.
There's a shot hit toward left, but Worth is there. Awkward route. That ball might have been knuckling for Jathsonworth. He lost it lights for a second, but he made the play for the second out. And the bases are empty for Freddie Freeman, who, you're right, Joe, is 2 for 21 on the year.
One of those bingo batting averages. 0.95.
But Roark's a man he's hit hard in his big league career. Maybe this is exactly what Freddie needs. There's that one sailed inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Washington with their patented shift on for Freddie Freeman. 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. He's a little late. 2-1 your count.
And he's been a little late since the beginning of the season. And one thing that I've noticed a little bit is that he is drifting a little bit forward. He's getting out on his front foot even more than normal, a little quicker than normal, which in many cases will cause your hands to drag.
That's fouled away. Let's take a look at our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature. Those are the numbers I was alluding to earlier.
Let's see if we can pad those numbers tonight.
Foul back, and still a full count. Giving him a good first inning fight.
All these foul balls are off to the left, yet they still play him with a big shift to the right.
Roark ordinarily has excellent control. As Freeman cracks one toward left, that's playable for Worth. He nears the line, has plenty of room, and Tanner Roark works a perfect top of the first. Of the Racing Presidents cast here in Washington, Herbert Hoover, who has won a couple of the Presidents races during this series. We'll see if Atlanta can win the game race and pick up their first victory of the season tonight behind Matt Whistler, who's made tremendous strides, Joe, over his last 6 big league starts.
No question about it. His numbers against the Nationals in 4 starts last year, 2-2 with a .540. But one of the things that plagued him were free passes. 11 walks in 20 innings. That's a lot for him. And as you might suspect, on our Ford keys to pitching success, it's still about left-handed hitters who have worn him out and went 4 for 11 in his last start against the Cardinals with a homer, and still about the walk. So he's got his work cut out for him tonight. Some tough lefties in their lineup, and can issue a lot of free passes.
Yeah, 3 of the first 4 hitters for Washington hit from the left side. Michael Taylor's a right-handed batter. He's their leadoff man and center fielder, filling in for an injured Ben Revere. Taylor hitting a .160. He's knocked in a run. And that's first is right there for a called strike. No Rendon, no Zimmerman for the Nationals to start this evening. Dusty Baker's resting those 2. And we'll have to wait and see if Steven Strasburg gets the ball in game for the series tomorrow as well. Hit toward short. Imar's got it, and Taylor's retired. Ground ball out. The first of the game for Matt Whistler. A look at Atlanta's defensive lineup. Kelly Johnson gets the start tonight. Malik Smith back in there in center. Nick Markakis is in right. Chase Peterson at second. AJ behind the plate. Ibar and Garcia the left side of the Atlanta infield defense. Here's Stephen Drew. Starting at third base tonight. Drew saw a little bit of time at third base last year with the Yankees. Played 4 games at third base. Made 1 start at the hot corner for the Yankees. He's had just 4 at bats so far for Dusty Baker in Washington. And he's the first left-handed bat for Matt Whistler tonight.
Had a good at bat last night. He's only at bat. Got a 1-out single in the 8th that got their 2-run rally started. Split foul past Freeman. Like his brother JD, he's always had a quick bat. numbers haven't been there the last couple of years, but he can still get the barrel to that pitch on the inside part of the plate.
Dribbler right side. Freeman's got it. Whistler to the bag. And that's an easy play. 2 down. This is how you want to face Bryce Harper. The Nationals right fielder comes up with 2 outs and nobody aboard. The rest of the lineup for Washington. And has got to find a way, Joe, to get Daniel Murphy out. He has worn out the Braves so far this year.
Yeah, 6 for 14 with 2 homers and hitting .500 overall. And they're trying to figure out how to get Jathsonworth going. He's just 2 for 19 so far at the start of the year.
So Bryce Harper, the batter. His pop-up double just out of reach of Jeff Francoeur last night that brought home the 2 Nationals runs. And he lays down a bunt. Whistler's got it, bare hand, low throw. Freeman dug it out, made a terrific play. Bryce Harper tried to bunt. Whistler picked it up and threw him out. And he has a perfect first inning under his belt. Nice play. We head to the second.
Group together today, and I told them this might be the best 0-7 team that I've ever been around, you know. And I also told them that everybody loses 5 in a row. I think we talked about that last night. But when you lose 5 or 7 in a row in the beginning of the season, it's like going 0 for 18. Everybody goes for 0 for 18 or 1 for 18 somewhere down the road. But at the beginning of the year, it gets really magnified.
Hopefully for Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves, today's the day they break through and shake hands with a smile on their face after the ball game.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with him more because of the start of the season and the numbers.
Ouch. Ow. Garcia got popped with a fastball inside. He'll take first on a hit batsman.
That grazed off the elbow or the forearm at the back of the arm. But until the Braves put that first W on the board, and when they do, everybody can quit harping on it and wondering when that first win's going to come.
Kelly Johnson is in the starting lineup tonight. Had a great at bat against Felipe Rivero in yesterday's ball game. Kelly at 250. Caught a corner, even count.
Francoeur got a start last night. Kelly Johnson tonight. Same with the Nationals with a couple of guys. Dusty Baker's philosophy was, you know, you work hard all spring to get ready for the start of the season, and then if you sit for a week, you can lose whatever you had built up and got ready for the season with. So it's important to get guys in the lineup so that they can get 4 or 5 at bats and feel like whatever they had working in spring training is still there.
Nationals 5-1. Best ever start in the history of the Washington Nationals franchise. Runner goes, pitch is popped up, and Jathsonworth is going to make the catch for the first out. 2 other teams here in Washington history have also started 5-1, the 1913 and 1951 Senators. Also got out of the gate in good shape, but for Dusty Baker, his first year at the helm, great way to start his first week here.
It's pretty cool in this stadium. They've got a ring of honor on the facing of one of the decks here to honor not just the Washington Senators that played in this city, but also the Washington Homestead Grays. You see the Expos with the heritage of this franchise. There are the Grays. Josh Gibson memorialized there. Got a lot of Senators. Harmon Killebrew, among others. Joe Cronin. The infamous Goose Goslin. Calvin Griffith and others. It's neat in the history of this city how they've honored people and players from each of the teams, the franchise history with the Expos, and then down the line in left field right behind the foul pole is Frank Robinson for the Nationals.
1 ball, 1 strike for A.J. Pierzynski. He'll step out and get time.
Got all of it covered.
A.J. takes a ball, 2 balls and a strike. Back to the mound. Roark is going to fire to second for 1, and A.J. beats the Rapid first.
Roark's a good athlete. He feels his position well, as you just saw there. Pounced on that, made a good throw to second base. He was a high school quarterback, won a state championship in Wilmington, Illinois. And like I said last year, unfortunate for him that when they pick up Max Scherzer, he was the odd man out of the rotation. He just kind of had to wear it last year wherever they needed him.
Ibar bats. He lays down a bunt, and it's a beauty. A bunt single for Ibar, and the Braves have 2 on with 2 outs.
Second baseman number 8, Jace Peterson.
Let's see if the Braves can pick up a 2-out hit from Jace Peterson.
You know what? It's a bit unconventional here with 2 out, but Braves need to do some unconventional type things and try to break this skid. So it does move a runner into scoring position, albeit with 2 out.
And that bunt play, a big part of Ibar's game. Since the start of the 2007 season, that was his 102nd bunt hit. That's more than any other player. And since 2010, only Ichiro Suzuki has more infield hits than Eric Ibar. So if Peterson can reach, at the very least, you clear the pitcher here. The Braves would love to jump in front of Roark in the 2nd inning. And it's very quickly 3-0.
Scouting report we got on Roark from his first start was that he actually pitched better after the hour-and-a-half rain delay against Miami than he did before.
And a 4-pitch walk will load the bases for Matt Whistler.
in that start. He went 4 innings, 9 hits, 3 walks, 3 earned runs. 99 pitches in 4 innings.
And when you say rain delay, it wasn't like it was a 20-minute rain delay, was it?
Hour and a half.
You can't count on Mother Nature tonight. It's a crisp, clear evening. He's got big trouble with Whistler up there. Bases loaded, 2 out. Ground ball towards short. Espinoza's got it and throws on the run, and that'll retire the side. Braves load him up, can't break through. Daniel Murphy's coming up in a scoreless game. Replay.
And it was a good one to end the first. Harper tried to bunt his way on. Nice play here by Matt Whistler to plant and throw. A one hopper to Freeman, who was able to pick it and get out of the way. Braves be happy offering Bryce Harper an opportunity to bunt every time up.
So 3 ground ball outs for Matt Whistler. Last 6 starts. Pretty impressive. Something we commented on when we saw Matt in the spring. There's a different vibe around him right now. Different look on his face, different body language as he starts his first full major league season for the Braves.
Yeah, we talked about how it's no longer a look of a guy that was I don't want to say overwhelmed, but the surroundings, you know, getting some of the best of him. He went 8-8 last year, so he won some ball games. But this year, even he will tell you that he feels like he knows what it takes and that he's got what it takes. It's just a matter of implementing it. And when he came out of that start against the Cardinals, he said, I made a couple of big mistakes that really cost me. And he only gave up runs in 1 inning, and he was right. So if he can cut down on those mistakes, cut down on free passes, look for him to have a really good year.
And I think Braves fans everywhere will take that kind of a run all year.
No question. He really finished on a hot streak last year.
So Daniel Murphy will go to work. Braves have got to figure this guy out. Murphy is wearing out Braves pitching. He's 6 for 14 against the Braves this year with a couple of homers. And all Murphy has done is pick up 10 hits in his first 20 at bats. With a .600 on base percentage. He's our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
No surprise that since 2010, all those guys were playing in the National League East. A lot of games against the Braves.
Murphy had an incredible postseason run for the Mets and inked a 3-year deal with the Nationals. He's off to a flying start. And that's pulled foul at first. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
As you pointed out, Chip, this guy's so hard to strike out. It's almost like if he gets to his 2-strike count, he's got you where he wants you. He'll use the whole field. The Braves have got him scattered defensively all over the place. Kelly Johnson near the line and left. And then he can still turn on just about anything.
In that regard, he's really an old school ball player. Murphy had 499 regular season at bats last year, struck out 38 times.
And it's a great number. From this camera angle from center field, watch this next pitch, because there is a bit of a movement with his front foot, and it's not quite a Chipper Jones toe tap, but he picks it up and puts it down real early, almost like he's getting his lower half set to get ready to use his hands.
Rolled to the right side. Jace has that, and Murphy's retired. So the first 3 left-handed batters against Matt Whistler haven't been able to get the ball out of the infield. He's gotten 4 straight ground balls to start his night.
One of the things that does is once he's already picked his foot up and put it down, it's like he's already taken a stride, if you will. So he's already ready to hit and just use his hands. So it keeps him back, keeps his upper body from getting that over his front foot, and again makes him a tough out.
Jathsonworth off to a very slow start. 2 for his first 19. He struck out 5 times in that stretch. Worth, one of several injured Nationals players last year, was able to play just 88 times. In fact, they have their starting 8 together, a grand total of twice. And it turned out to be a very disappointing year for Washington. Fastball, and Worth took it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And he had a good fastball the other day against the Cardinals too. Good life on it.
And something off speed got Jathsonworth to swing and miss. 5 up, 5 down for Whistler. That's his first strikeout.
He's really on his heels, Worth. Back pockets were leaving the scene of the accident. Hands were lunging to try to cover it.
And here's another tough out for the Braves. Ramos coming off a 4-for-4 game here Monday night, tying his career high. He's off to a .381 start at the plate.
Another guy who uses the whole field.
Oh, 2.
This Nationals team is a good lineup, and right now they're 5-1 because they're getting some key hits. It's not like everybody in the lineup is hitting. Got to get Worth going. Rendon is off to a bit of a slow start. Espinoza as well, but they've got such a veteran lineup. They don't need everybody to hit. They got 4 guys working at once. That's pretty solid.
Well, with their starting pitching, they know they're probably going to give up 2 or less most of the time, so that takes a lot of pressure off their bats as well.
And so far their bullpen's been pretty darn good.
Left side, Garcia knocked it down. Ibar tried to pick it up and make a play, couldn't. And Ramos has the first hit of the game for Washington, a rocket to the left side of the diamond.
Almost a great play by Adonis. That hop right there, that last hop had a little top spin on it. But he still almost flagged it down and had the presence of mind to still try to reach for it with his bare hand. Good effort.
So here's Clint Robinson, a testament to hard work. Was a non-roster player for the Nationals last spring training, made the team, played in 126 games. Obviously, he's made the club this year and is retired to send us to inning number 3, where the top of the order's coming up. Matt Whistler looking good in Washington so far.
Nothing, top of the third, and you'll see Tanner Roark out on the mound. Steven Strasburg, a late scratch. Hey, there's quite a lot of difference between 95 to 98 miles an hour. Tanner Roark mixing his pitches very well. So I went to the hitters and I said, hey, do you do anything different? Freddie Freeman said, no, I don't watch video. I don't look at anything. My approach does not change at all. Kelly Johnson, another major league hitter who gets it done at the plate, says, yes, I do go watch video. I watch how he pitched the last week, and I may change my approach. Both guys thinking differently, both getting the job done. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Paul. That's an excellent point as Malik Smith tries to bunt and fouls one straight back. 0-1 your count. You get geared up, you think, all right, Steven Strasburg, we're facing him in game 3, and then 12 o'clock today, find out he's sick.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Paul. I'm kind of on the Kelly Johnson side of things. I would be in there wanting to see, A, how he pitched me in the past as a reminder, and B, what did he try to do in his first start that he wasn't able to do? What did he struggle with?
And Joe, as you said, in Roark's first start, it really was like 2 games in 1. He started the game, was all amped up, didn't pitch well, then the rains came and looked like a different man after an hour-and-a-half rain delay. The bases loaded in the second, had the pitcher up, wiggled off the hook as Smith pops one toward left. Worth has that one measured up, 1 out. So, Paul, I want to ask you, Tanner Roark was supposed to pitch here tomorrow. Is there any effect for him other than the obvious 24-hour advance for his assignment in getting ready for this game today instead of pitching behind Strasburg tomorrow?
Well, that's a great question. Mentally, you're okay. Now, physically, it could mess you up a little bit. What I mean by that is if you threw a bullpen yesterday and you usually get that 1 or 2 day off cushion before you start, then it can affect you physically. You may not have enough time to recover. And if you're a reliever, that's no big deal. But when you are a starter, you crave routine. And so the day after you start, you either long toss or take it easy. And then one of the next 2 days, you throw a bullpen, either your second or third day. And then you like to have a day off before you start. So depending upon what schedule he was on, that can throw off your routine. And then that affects you mentally because you take the mound thinking, well, maybe I don't have my good stuff.
It could be too, Paul, that he didn't throw yesterday on the side because I don't think Strasburg was feeling very good yesterday. They may have had an inkling that this could happen, and maybe they kept him from throwing in the pen. He's throwing hard, but he's not sharp.
Nope, 4 straight. That's the second walk issued by Tanner Roark. Markakis aboard in front of Freddie Freeman, who flied out. Roark has been a tough man for the Braves to beat. Lifetime he's 3-1 against Atlanta, and ERA just over 2 runs a game. And here at Nationals Park, he's only given up 2 earned runs now in 23 career innings. By Freddie Freeman.
Good change up there after missing with some fastballs. They start with a change up. That was a good idea by Ramos.
Hit well toward left. Budworth is there. 2 outs. He's flying out the other way in both of his at-bats. Markakis back to first, and Garcia, the hitter, he was hit by a pitch his first time up.
We've heard hitters talk about getting their front foot down quickly, and just like we were talking about with Murphy and how he does that early before the pitcher even lets go of the baseball. He's already put his front foot down. He's set. Freddie's a little late doing it. His front foot's getting down late, especially on that last swing there. It was almost like the foot hit and the swing was already in motion and he was late.
And you said he's drifting too, right?
And when you've got all that working, when you've got all that moving off your back foot, that's not a good combo.
No balls and a strike. Garcia didn't get a slider. Ball has just turned 31. 2-shot foul. It's 0-2. Another slider. Roark has struck out 1 man tonight. Strikeout ball has been a problem for the Braves bats. 64 strikeouts in their first 7 games coming into play tonight. And there's the second of the game, and that ends the Braves' threat in the third. And I'll take it back. Fouled at the plate.
Just barely foul tipped it.
Just enough to stay alive. So 64 strikeouts. It's an average of 9 a game. That's 3 innings of no contact. That's tough to overcome. See if Garcia can split a gap and chase home Markakis, who leads at first.
Try to keep it away from him again.
He drives it the other way, but right at Bryce Harper, and that will retire the side. 3 flyouts ends Atlanta's third. No score. Washington, no score after 2.5 innings of play. A mini controversy here in Washington. There is Danny Espinoza, the national shortstop. Pretty clean shaven. And the last 2 years, he has had a couple of very interesting scoreboard photographs. He lets his beard grow out, and then February gets down to spring training for picture day, and he shaves the beard after they take the picture on the scoreboard. Well, that's the picture that Danny Espinoza is featuring right now. And Espinoza was asked about that, and he said, look, it's not my choice to change my Yosemite Sam look on the scoreboard. It came from Mike Rizzo, the general manager, who said, I reserve the right to pick the pictures that our players have on the scoreboard during the games.
Well, if he's not happy with it right now, the guy could grow a beard in 24 hours, so he can fix that right away.
Popped up left side. Garcia gives chase, and I don't think he can see it, but he picked it up at the last moment, and Espinoza out after a close shave with Sky for Thomas Garcia. There's out number 1. Here's Roark. You're told he can swing the bat a little bit.
Yeah, he's good. He's just a good all-around athlete.
Career 162 hitter. He was 5 for 27 last year with a couple of doubles. As Joe said, didn't do a whole lot of starting work for the Nationals, which mostly out of the bullpen. Fly ball center. And Malik Smith is going to catch that. Well, Whistler's done an excellent job. His first ball to get out of the infield in the game. 2 outs.
It's a very good sign for him. I was thinking about that with respect to Roark in the top inning, 3 fly ball outs, 2 others in the first inning. So one of the keys for him is to keep the ball down and with his hard sinker and get ground ball outs, and that's not really happening so far for him. But he still has thrown up 3 shutout innings.
Out of play by Taylor, a strike. For Michael, the Nationals fill in center fielder. Losing Ben Revere was a blow for Washington. Happened down in Atlanta, a rib cage problem. It's going to take some time to heal. Washington really likes this kid, another terrific athlete.
Dusty Baker talking to him during his rounds in the batting cage, telling him to use his hips and his legs. He wasn't using his lower body with the satisfaction of his skipper.
And Whistler just struck him out. 3 up, 3 down for Matt, who's got 3 innings of 1 hit ball under his belt. Kelly Johnson leads off the 4th for the Braves here in Game 3. It's time for tonight's Greatness Made Here feature, brought to you by Synovus, the bank of here. Let's check out the happenings down on the farm for the Braves.
A lot of day games today in the minor leagues, including one for AAA Gwinnett. Mike Foltynewicz, 6 innings, a 2-hit shutout ball with a walk and 7 strikeouts. Boy, that's good to hear. Last night, Dustin Peterson, 2 for 3 with a double at Mississippi. Mike Soroka, 6 innings of shutout ball for Rome and a loss, but good work. And Braxton Davidson, 2 for 4 for Carolina, and I believe Dansby Swanson a big day last night as well.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson went 3 for 4. And Keith Curcio's another kid having a great run. He's off to a 4.62 start at the plate for the Braves. And Mike Foltynewicz, 2 starts, a 0.90 ERA.
And a boy.
High chopper by Kelly Johnson. Robinson will flip to Roark, close play. Kelly's out on first pitch, and there's out number 1 in the inning.
I saw that Dustin Peterson note when I was standing by the cage talking to Dusty today. He was talking about all these players the Braves got from the Padres. He said, "Man, did you guys leave anybody for the Padres?" And I said, "No, not really." So he was asking about a couple of the trades, and I mentioned Jace Peterson and Dustin Peterson. And when I did, their assistant hitting coach, Jock Jones, had coached those guys in the low, I think it was in Class A, low Class A for the Padres when he first started coaching after he stopped playing. And he was raving about Dustin Peterson. He said, "Man, a guy can hit." And it's good to see that he's off to a good start. He's moved from the infield to the outfield. He's a left fielder in the minor leagues for the Braves, but another part of that, those deals with San Diego.
Foul by A.J. Brzezinski. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another name to keep an eye on, Chris Ellis, one of the pitchers the Braves got from the Angels in the Anderson Simmons deal. 6 innings and 8 strikeouts in his debut for Mississippi. King-size right-hander as he's 6'5", 205 pounds. So we'll keep following all the happenings down on the farm for you this summer. That's a big story of the Braves 2016 season. Bouncing ball to Robinson at first. He'll handle that one. And 2 are quickly out.
Better inning for Roark. Getting ahead and getting some ground balls and toppers from the left-handers.
Ibar laid down a bunt his first time up. Jace Peterson walked to load the bases with 2 outs, and then Whistler grounded out.
I was going to try to bunt for a base hit. One of the things that I paid attention to is how the pitcher followed through. For a right-hander, typically he might fall off to the first base side of the rubber, first base side of the mound, which means he's inclined to be able to field the bunt if I tried to drag it as a left-handed batter to the right side. So I try to go the other way.
Pop down the left side. Worth long run. He's not going to get there.
As a result, that first at bat for Ibar when he pushed it down the third baseline, a little bit farther for a right-handed pitcher to go to get it. Perfectly placed. You got a base hit.
His first hit of the series. And now a 2-2 count. 4th inning already, no score. Count. Fly ball well hit toward right. Harper on the run, still sprinting, still going. He'll give way to Taylor, a step shy of the fence, and that'll retire the side. Hardest hit ball of the night by Eric Ibar and the Braves, who are out of luck in the top of the fourth.
Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Nothing, bottom of the fourth. And you've heard Joe Simpson and I talk about the importance of pitching inside. Matt Whistler, watch this first pitch. Inside corner for a strike. Then he goes outside with the slider, strike 2. And now it's nasty. Michael Taylor swinging for the last out of the third inning. I believe that's the difference in Matt Whistler. And guys up there, we call that good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
You pitchers would, wouldn't you? You don't have any remorse whatsoever, do you? That was a great sequence.
Yeah, I really like that. And last year he could pitch inside, but he couldn't command the inside corner for strikes, and there's such a big difference between the two.
Well, and to follow that up, Paul, the work he's put in, especially left-handed hitters, for his changeup, to make that changeup more effective, he's got to pitch inside.
Yeah, and Joe, I would assume you as a hitter, I don't want to talk for you, but if somebody can't throw strikes on the inside part of the plate, do you eliminate that? Do you look away? Do you scoot closer to the plate? Or how do you react to that?
Until the guy burns me inside, yeah, I'm going to look middle of the plate away, try to hit the ball through the middle. Because if he's missing inside, he's missing too far inside for me to be able to turn on the ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Stephen Drew. Washington has hit 1 ball out of the infield, and that was by their pitcher, Tanner Roark. Drew bounced to first with Matt Whistler covering back in the opening inning. Well hit deep right field. And that ball is gone. Stephen Drew with a long solo home run, and the Nationals have struck first.
Remember what I said about a quick bat? Boy, was that quick through the zone.
Almost effortless at the plate.
Pitch was away from him, too.
Matt knew it.
So did AJ.
So Drew hits his first homer. The Nationals have struck first here in the 4th inning, and Bryce Harper is the batter. He lashes one toward left. Kelly Johnson will come charging in, and he's got it for the first out of the inning. Dusty Baker pushes the right button. He gives Rendon the night off. Puts Drew in at third base. And Drew hits a home run to start the inning. Here's Murphy. Outside corner strike.
Bristol gave up 16 home runs last year, 10 to left-handed hitters. And that's the second home run he's allowed this year, both to lefties.
Murphy out of Jacksonville University. Star with the Mets. 2 balls and a strike. Now 3-1. National League Championship Series MVP. He had 4 homers in the Mets sweep of the Cubs. And he takes a base on balls. A 1-out walk. Brings up Jason Worth.
Don't lose your aggressiveness, and don't be afraid to continue to try to pitch inside, even though you gave up the homer. Solo shot. Hopefully that one run won't beat you.
Worth struck out in the second. 6 strikeouts in his first 20 at bats. And a fly ball hammered center. Smith on the run. He's not going to get that one. Jason Worth strokes a 2-run homer. That looked like the Jason Worth of old.
I found it very interesting. Before he got in the box this time, he kind of surveyed the whole infield. He was looking at where the Braves were positioned, and it was almost as if he were kind of collecting himself. Plus, he got one right in his wheelhouse, about letter high. The pitch to Drew was up. So was that one.
So Jason Worth hits home run number 199 in his career. Just like that, it's 3-0 Nationals. Strike to Ramos. He rocketed an infield hit off of Garcia's glove at third base for the first Nationals hit. Good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shallow center. Malik's coming on, and he's going to get there, and he hurdles. He hurdles over second baseman Jace Peterson. What a play.
That had some fret to it. Alex is calling it all the way, so Jace is trying to get down and get out of his way, and all he did was slide right in front of him to take him out like on a double play. But you can see he's calling it all the way. Had the presence of mind to catch it and jump at the same time.
A track family. Mom taught him the high hurdles. Great play. Ramos is retired for the second out. Clint Robinson bounced out to second his first time. 3-0 Washington. Homers by Drew and Worth. And Jace will drift out. He says he's got it, and he does. And that will retire the side. The Nationals now with 6 homers on the season. 2 of them came in the 4th. Tanner Roark staked to a 3-0 lead. Two long homers by the Nationals have them in front by 3 as the Braves come up in the 5th inning. And Jace Peterson hits one the other way. It's a leadoff hit and a good start against Roark. It's his first hit against Tanner in his career, and the second hit of the night for the Braves. Here's Whistler. He grounded out with the bases loaded. Braves are out of luck in the second.
Be nice to answer the Nationals 3 runs with a little comeback here. We'll let them have a shutdown inning.
There's the bunt. Robinson will have 1 play. Sacrifice successful. Peterson in scoring position. Malik Smith becomes the key man in the inning. He's 0 for 2.
Good job by Whistler. Matt's out of Bryan, Ohio. He was going to go to Ohio State until the Padres selected him with the 7th pick in 2011.
Alex has struck out and popped out tonight. Malik Smith will never ever forget his first day in the big leagues. First big league hit off Daniel Murphy's glove, scored his first run and his first 5 stitches. Also his first assist. That was a heads-up play. It's been a great trip to Washington for Malik Smith and his family. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As that one's hit towards short. The throw's going to go to third. And Jace Peterson out. Ball hit in front of him. He tried to move up 90 feet. Bad decision, bad result. 2 out.
Base running 101. Ball hit in front of you. If you're at second base, you got to let it go through. Got to make it go through. Pretty simple play for the left side of their infield. But a fast runner at first who could swipe second and take his place.
So Espinoza takes care of Jace at third base. Markakis is lined out and walked. Malik is going. The pitch, a ball. The throw to second is off target. Malik Smith has a steal. His first in the big leagues. Made that look easy.
Helmet stayed on too. Excellent crossover step. Stayed low. And this time Wilson Ramos, with not as good a pitch to throw on, couldn't make as accurate a throw as he's been making. And I really like the fact that Malik was running early in the count, so that Markakis has a chance to work this at bat and try to get him in.
Nick's the team leader with 6 RBIs. And ball 3. Freddie Freeman is on deck.
Braves need base runners. It'd be nice to have Freddie up there with 2 guys on. But at the same time, the way Nick's going, kind of hate to have him take a pitch. He's swinging the bat great. Freddie is not.
Let's see what they give Markakis. 3-0. Nothing. It's ball 4 outside. Third 4-pitch walk for Tanner Roark tonight. And Freeman will indeed step up. He represents the tying run with 2 outs. Washington media guide a little off on the description of Tanner Roark. He has the ability to attack the zone. It owns precise control, they say. He hasn't been very precise tonight.
He's working quickly, I know that. He can't wait to get his foot back on the rubber.
Count. That one got through on the ricochet. The throw to third is late. Almost a very, very lucky bounce for Wilson Ramos. A rocket off the brick wall behind the plate, came right back to the catcher. And they almost got Malik Smith at third.
That's when you know that things are not going the Braves' way, if they'd picked him off at third base. Got there just in time.
So wild pitch chases Malik's to third. Markakis at second. 2 balls and a strike. Freddie Freeman.
Now make it really a good move. Get them both in.
2-2. Strike three. Freeman took it. And Roark is out of the soup in the top of the fifth. The Braves strand a pair, trail by 3. Freddie Freeman, 1 for his last, 24 at the plate. For New York, Noah Syndergaard struck out 12 men yesterday. And the Marlins denied a chance at their first sweep in New York since 2009. That's who will face next. The Brewers will play the Marlins in a 3-game series this weekend, beginning Friday night in Miami. Espinoza skies one towards center. Malik Smith to his left. 1 out.
That good play that Malik's made last night where he threw to second base and they were able to get Michael Taylor in a rundown. He was lined up to throw to third. I asked Jeff Francoeur about it, who was playing left field. I said, were you yelling for him to throw to second? He said, oh yeah. And Malik said, well, I'm glad you told me to throw to second because I was all set to throw to third. And Jeff said, I know you were, but that was not where you were supposed to make that play. So again, another place where a young player, not from a coach, but from a teammate, a veteran teammate, gets some influence. It's helpful.
We'll have to ask Jeff. If Jeff had been Malik Smith, would he have thrown the ball to second base?
That's a very good question.
He might have thrown it through the dugout. I'll never forget when Jeff first came up early in his career with the Braves, played the White Sox in an exhibition game at Turner Field. And Jeff was in right field, came up to throw, trying to gun out a man at third base. Roark drives another one towards center. Malik's to his right. He'll catch that one. All you heard was Ozzie Guillen and several other members of the White Sox screaming as this missile came screaming into the visitors' dugout on the third base line at Turner Field.
Just a little high.
Yeah. Michael Taylor with 2 outs. 2 pitches. Matt wishes he had back tonight. They've cost him 3 runs. A homer by Drew, a homer by Worth. Take it low. So 54 pitches as he's just about through the 5th inning. He's been economical. Walked only 1 man. He struck out 2. Slow roller. Garcia to his left. In on the grass. Throws on the run. And Freddie Freeman's there. And that'll retire the side. Nice rebound inning for Matt Whistler. Braves bats need to get busy. Athletics, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light.
Most consecutive road losses for the Braves against various teams, and the highlighted ones are current.
Sinking line drive by Garcia, speared by Daniel Murphy. That's how the Braves' 6th inning starts.
2 hard hit balls by Garcia, 2 line drive outs. But the Braves losing streak here at Nationals Park at 12. The Braves have had a horrible time out in San Diego the last couple of years. That you can see the results there.
Road has not been friendly to the Braves since July 1st last year. The Braves are 8-33 away from Turner Field, including the first 2 losses in Washington. Down 3 after 5, and Kelly Johnson is the hitter now.
Roark has had a 2-seamer working here the last couple of innings. It's been very effective. He got Freddie Freeman to raise his hands up and try to get out of the way. And kind of an old Greg Maddux type pitch that backed up over the inside corner. Very effective.
This man won 15 games a couple of years ago. As Joe mentioned, was the odd man out in rotation when Max Scherzer signed. It's almost like the Nats outsmarted themselves. An embarrassment of riches to take a 15-game winner out of your rotation. That's why many people thought they were the odds-on favorite to go to and win the World Series last year. But now Fister is gone. And Roark is back in rotation. Jordan Zimmerman.
Zimmerman's gone too.
Now Tiger. Full count for Kelly. And spread out of play.
Well, that was a good swing Kelly put on Felipe Rivero last night. Left-handed pitcher who's awfully tough. RBI double for Kelly.
Fastball. Kelly took it. Looking for something else, I think. 3rd strikeout for Tanner Roark, and just like that, 2-minute down.
May have been the same pitch that I was talking about. I don't know if it was a 4-seamer or not, or if it was the 2-seamer that backed up. Let's see. Inside target. No, that was the 2-seamer that had a little late life on it. Came back. I don't know why more right-handers don't work on that pitch and try to employ it as much as they can. The feeling is, as a left-handed hitter, is that the pitch is coming more or less right at you, and your inclination is to kind of jackknife back out of the way.
A shot to center by A.J. Przinsky. So he's 8 hits away from 2,000 now. A clean 2-out single. And that'll bring up Ibar. Yeah, we were talking about that with F.P. Santangelo, the Nationals broadcaster. He said every time he faced Greg Maddux, it's almost like he was signaling touchdown, because that pitch would come in, he'd jackknife out of the way, his hands would go up, and he'd look, and the ball's right in the middle of the plate in Javier Lopez's glove. Ibar 1 for 2 with a bunt single.
He wasn't the only one.
And rolled out of play. Strike 1 to the Braves shortstop. That bunt, his first hit in this series. Runs this time of the game have been very tough for the Braves to come by. Let's see if they can manufacture something with 2 outs. Very strange how the splits have worked for the Braves. First half of the game, more often than not, they've held their own offensively. Against the opposition's bullpen, runs and hits have been tough to come by. And you know you need at least 4 tonight to win.
And you already know that's what it's going to take. You got to go to the whip early.
And a swing and a miss. Ibar is strikeout victim number 4. Time for tonight's Toyota Key Plays with Washington ahead 3-zip.
Nice defensive play there by Whistler early in the game, but a couple of fastballs left up and out over the plate. Back in the 4th inning to Drew, and Worth cost him 3 runs.
And now he's got the 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up. Drew's the man that got it started with a leadoff homer his last time up. I mentioned how quick J.D. Drew was and how quick Stephen Drew is inside. Dad used to always say,
you know why the Drew boys have such great reflexes, don't you? From dodging all those traffic cones on I-75 down by Hayhira.
One ball, one strike. And back in the day, his dad would say the fun-loving guys at the DOT had I-75 under perpetual repair. 1-1 pitch. And fouled straight back. It's 1-2 for Stephen Drew.
Another pitch left up and out over the plate. Trying one of those change-ups.
And an off-speed pitch froze Stephen Drew.
There's a breaking ball.
So a good start for Matt in the 6th. His 3rd.
Breaking ball and a good one.
Bryce Harper, the batter, tried to bunt his first time. And he was thrown out by Whistler. He's also flied out to left. Harper with 99 career homers. That's a little low. 1 ball, no strikes.
I know he hit a home run his first at bat opening day against the Braves, but by comparison to previous seasons, especially last year, the Braves have done a good job pitching to him. First 4.5 games so far this year, he is just 3 for 16.
Two balls, no strikes. Good pitch, 2-1. Harper appears as exceptionally patient too.
He walked a lot because people were pitching around him, but he also walked a lot because he just doesn't chase too many bad pitches.
So he struck out once in 22 at bats. He had a home run cut there and came up empty. It's 2-2.
Another fastball up, and he swung right through it.
Just missed the corner. Must have been low. Full count. And Harper swings and misses. Back-to-back strikeouts for Whistler in the 6th.
Talking to A.J. Brzezinski about Harper last night and about how the Braves have pitched him and about his stride, his swing and everything. And he said, well, some of the rules that he is able to break as a hitter, you just got to hand it to him. Nobody else could get away with it, but he can because he's so good. But you've got to pitch him up, and you've got to pitch him up and in to keep him from extending his arms.
Murphy with another hit. This one with 2 outs.
base twice again tonight. His walk preceded the home run by Worth, and now he splits one between the two infielders on the right side. Jason Worth got a pitch up that he hit out his first time up, and it was kind of a classic swing, even though he's been struggling. Watch this. He's one of the guys that keeps both hands on the bat, but look at on this high pitch, the point of contact and the extension he got because the pitch was up allowed him to drive it a long way. That was a really pretty swing.
Now AJ and Whistler want to talk over this sequence. Don't forget, Braves Live presented by Xfinity after our game. Christina Fitzpatrick is in the studio tonight. Hopefully we'll talk about the first Braves win of the season. Atlanta 0-7. Make sure that Christina talks about the game and not her new baby boy, James Joseph. JJ Fitzpatrick.
No one could fault her for that.
No.
He's gorgeous.
Baby. Beautiful baby. So Christina, congratulations. No balls and a strike. Not a play. 0-2. Murphy has a moderate lead at first. And 1-2 for Worth. He's in the dirt. AJ knocked that down. It's 2-2. Braves and Twins began play today as the only winless teams in Major League Baseball. At the start of today's play, there's only one team without a loss. That's the Baltimore Orioles. They're in Boston tonight, and they're tied 2-2 in the fourth at Fenway Park. Fought that off. It's still 2-2. Pirates lead the Tigers 2-1 in the sixth inning. That's at PNC Park. Phillies are beating San Diego 2-0. The Reds are in Chicago and beating the Cubs 1-0. That's early at Wrigley Field. National League game underway is in St. Louis, where the Brewers lead the Cardinals 1-0. Cardinals have won 4 straight. They've scored 10 or more runs in their last 3. They've never done it 4 times in a row in the history of their franchise. Now it's stroked toward right. Markakis to his right, gets there, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. We head to the 7th. On a late night in Washington, it's brought to you by Chevrolet.
Whistler and Roark going at it tonight. Roark the beneficiary of 2 home runs. One by Stephen Drew, a 2-run shot by Jason Worth. That's the difference in the ball game.
So it's late. Braves have 9 outs left. They need 3 to tie, 4 to take a lead. Jace Peterson leads off. Jace has reached base twice. He's walked and he's singled to left. Braves bullpen has begun to work. Pitcher spot is due next. And Gordon Beckham's grabbed a bat.
Braves have scored 1 run in the last 22 innings. That was in the 9th last night. And the last run before that was in the 2nd inning of Game 1 of the series.
Popped up left side. Espinoza out. Worth in. It'll be the Nationals left fielder near the line. He's got it for out number 1. And it will be Gordon Beckham. Whistler 6 innings, 4 strikeouts. 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 homers.
He still pitched well. He made 2 mistakes within 2 batters of each other on some high fastballs that they capitalized on, but he still pitched well.
That's way outside to Beckham. There's 3 for 12 at the plate. And he's looking for his first pinch hit. He's 0 for 3. That's out of play and into the stands foul. It's 1-2. Haven't talked about it yet during the series, but the Nationals, one of a handful of ballparks that have dramatically changed their protective netting for foul balls. Screens go all the way to the ends of both dugouts. As Beckham drives one to right, gotta hurry because Harper is thinking about throwing, but he can't handle it cleanly, and there's a 1-out single.
Yeah, I like the way they did that. You know, at Turner Field, they've extended the backstop all the way to the inside edge of the dugouts. The Nationals took it a step further and went to the opposite side, to the far end.
So a great idea for Washington. As Malik Smith bats. That's it, foul behind the plate. Strike 1. Malik's reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th inning. Stole second, took third on a wild pitch, and was left 90 feet away. Steal his first major league stolen base. Leader. 1 ball, 1 strike. See the bandage from the other night. Batting helmet bounced up off the base. And opened up a gash on his forehead. 5 stitches were needed to close that up. He was back in the lineup last night and at it again tonight. 1-1 pitch. Back to the mound. Roark's got it. There's 1. And the Nationals quickly turn 2. A 1-6-3 double play sends us to the 7th inning stretch. Tanner Roark doing to the Braves what he has done so often. That's winning at home. 3-0 your score. the ATL celebrations continuing tonight in Washington. Unfortunately, the Nationals not being good hosts. They've hit a couple of homers and lead 3-0. Don't forget to join us April 23rd. The Mets are in town. The first 20,000 fans at Turner Field will get the Skip and Pete Famous Calls bobblehead. You don't want to miss out on this one. It's a great ballpark giveaway item. Go to Braves.com/tickets today. Matt Whistler's out after 6 innings. He'll give way to Chris Withrow. And Withrow has the bottom portion of the Nationals lineup coming up.
Last night had a good inning that followed his debut at Turner Field. So a much better outing there. No walks and a strikeout. Goes hard. Good hard slider. Great big guy. And with the absence of Daniel Winkler and his elbow injury, Braves need somebody to step into that void because Winkler was really throwing great.
Withrow 6'3", 240, born in Austin, Texas. And he's got Wilson Ramos coming up. Ramos' perfect series at the plate was interrupted in the 4th inning. Ground ball toward third. Garcia surrounds that and makes the throw to first in plenty of time. One man down. Red Robinson's 0 for 2.
Daniel Garcia arrived at the ballpark after the Braves started taking batting practice tonight. He'll provide a lot of options for Freddie Gonzalez on the infield. He can play anywhere. Daniel Castro, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
And a right-handed batter who swung the bat pretty well when we saw him last year at times.
He was a fun guy to watch last year, wasn't he?
Hit a couple of homers.
Hit 240 with the Braves, played in 33 games.
And he can pick it.
Only one error. That's the most important stat for Castro. Clint Robinson, the hitter, 1 ball, 1 strike to him. He's in at first base for Zimmerman tonight. Nationals have given Ryan Zimmerman a couple of days off in the early going. They want to be very careful with him, with his history of foot problems. Rest him up and hope for nice warm weather here tomorrow for the series wrap-up, which will feature Julio Teheran and we presume Steven Strasburg. He was supposed to go tonight, but was ill. Ground ball to second. And Robinson's an easy out. 2 men down. Speaking of tomorrow's game, join us over on Fox Sports Southeast or on the Fox Sports Go app for a day game as the Braves take on the Nationals here at Nationals Park. Our coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports Southeast. And again, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's April in the ATL, presented by Cook's Pest Control. And folks, you want to check out that Fox Sports Go app. That's a great way to follow the Braves when you're away from your home cable setup. All you have to do is log in with your cable provider and you can follow the Braves wherever you go.
Whatever device you might have.
And if your carrier doesn't have Fox Sports Go, give them a call and let them know you want it. Here's Espinoza. And he takes the ball. Ball 2. Espinoza, born in Santa Ana, California.
Just missed.
3-year starting shortstop at Long Beach State.
Before or after Tulowitzki?
That's a good question. He was a freshman in 2006. 3-0 pitch is nowhere near. Espinoza walks. Roark is scheduled to hit, but he is going to be taken down after 7 solid innings tonight. It's Chris Heisey.
This guy was a nice pickup by the Nationals. I've always thought of him as a real solid right-handed bat off the bench, dating back to when he first broke in with the Reds.
Dusty Baker knows all about Chris Heisey. He managed him in Cincinnati. Last year played in 33 games with the Dodgers. Career .245 hitter in the big leagues. Minor league deal with an invite to spring training, and there he is. It's funny, isn't it? Managers to new teams always like to bring a player or a coach from the old organization to help make the transition for themselves and have something they have some familiarity with.
Yep, some guy that he's got confidence in and knows exactly what he can and cannot do.
There's a strike. 2-1 to Heisey. Pop foul and out of play. Heisey out of Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. And Messiah College in Grantham, PA. 17th round pick originally by the Reds. And this one's popped up on the infield. Jace Peterson says he's got it, and that retires the side. We head to the 8th inning. 2, 3, and 4 coming up for the Braves. They're down 3-0.
By Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer. And Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
We head to the top of the 8th inning. Fans, the Kroger 4-game plan's a great way to see your Atlanta Braves during the historic final season at Turner Field. Save off your regular game price and custom build your 4-game plan, or select a popular one like the bobblehead, Friday night fireworks, or Sunday Kids Day plans by visiting Braves.com/4game. Oliver Perez takes the hill after Tanner Roark's terrific 7 innings worth of work tonight. Nick Markakis leads off. First pitch swing. Murphy handles a big hop. And there's out number 1.
One pitch, one out. He likes that because normally it takes Oliver a lot of pitches to get through an inning. 3 walks in an inning and a third so far.
As Joe mentioned earlier, the Nationals bullpen's been very good in the early going. The relief corps 2-0, 5 for 5 in saves, 2.37 ERA, 7 walks in 19 innings. Giving up 1 home run.
See, he can't just get an out. He's got to figure out how to do all of his choreography before he gets out of the game. See, that's tough right there in and of itself. No reason to do a pirouette.
Hit Freeman with that pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Washington signed him to a 2-year deal. And crossfire, and that missed for a count. Second time he's been with the Nationals organization. Also pitched in 2011 at AA when he was trying to get back to the major leagues. And a strike over the outside corner. Freddie Freeman strikes out for a 2nd time tonight. He is 0 for 4.
So he's nasty, just doing it his customary way. That drop down sidearm breaking ball, awfully tough on lefties. Adonis has hit the ball hard twice tonight, but line drives right at people.
Takes a fastball up and away for ball 1. Sean Kelly's up in the Nationals pen if there's any trouble. Even count.
You might remember last night, Dusty Baker gave his closer the night off. Jonathan Papelbon did not work. Tonight he's trying to stay away from Blake Trinan and Felipe Rivero.
One ball, 2 strikes. Did he go? Yes, he did. Bob Davidson with the call at the plate. And Oliver Perez with a hop, skip, and a jump makes his way to the Nationals dugout after working a perfect 8th.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. The Georgia Lottery. And Synovus, the bank of here.
Beautiful Washington, D.C. The Lincoln Memorial, framed by the World War II Memorial. As we rejoin you inside Nationals Park, where Washington leads 3-0. Withrow back out there as we head to the top of the Nationals order. Taylor, Drew, and Bryce Harper coming up. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Nationals. They've left 3 on base. No runs, 4 hits for the Braves, who've stranded 7. 3 of those 7 came in the second inning. The Braves put together a little bit of a rally. Had the bases loaded with 2 outs and the pitcher up. And that whistle couldn't break through. All 3 Washington runs came in inning number 4. A Drew homer and a Worth homer. Matt Whistler went 6 innings, a 3-run ball. Tanner Roark went 7. Alvin Perez worked a perfect 8th. Withrow gave up a walk in his first inning of relief. That one's off the end of the bat. And second, throw to first gets Taylor, and there's out number 1.
Good work by Withrow so far. 3 ground ball outs. Looks like that's it for him.
So a good job by Chris Withrow. Base is empty in the 8th.
Chevrolet, Georgia Power, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Happy birthday to Thomas Jefferson, man that drafted the Declaration of Independence, born on this date in 1743. Parents, get a jump on your summer plans today. Get your child signed up to attend the Atlanta Braves baseball camp. It's the ultimate major league experience for boys and girls of all abilities, aged 5 through 13. Braves baseball camps offer 1-week sessions all around the metro Atlanta area. Go to braves.com/camps today.
You're going to say that Thomas Jefferson drafted Anthony Rendon in the first round years ago. That's Hunter Cervenka making his second appearance since he got called up a couple of days ago. Last year, 32 games. We told you about him the other day. If you missed it, he was in an independent league less than a year ago for the Sugarland Skeeters. So quite a bounce back for him in his professional career.
He's going to face Anthony Rendon, who gets a late at bat tonight with Washington already ahead 3-0. Downstairs, Cervenka faced one man. It was a good pitch and a better piece of hitting by Murphy. The pitch was not a strike, but he somehow found a way to reach out and poke it for a base hit. But no harm came of that. Popped up down the right side and headed for the stands foul. 1 ball, 1 strike for Rendon. Tie. Strike 2.
A lot of cutters from Cervinka. He's got a good curveball too.
Love stories like Hunter's, guys that toil for so long in the minor leagues. Never really get a chance to get to the big leagues. His first professional season was 2009. He pitched for 5 different teams last year. Started with the Red Sox organization. Also been with the Cubs. Now with the Braves. Just got a good hitter to pop up. Who wants it? It'll be Freddie Freeman in foul ground. And there's the second out.
That cutter biting right in on his hands. With the struggles of Eric O'Flaherty here at the beginning of the season, and the recall of, or the call up of Cervinka, the Braves need him to pitch well. They need to have another option down there from the left side.
There's a matchup I'm sure every left-handed relief pitcher thinks about. How would I do against Bryce Harper? Well, we're about to find out. Harper's 0 for 3. And in field, a strike.
Ready.
Freddie Gonzalez said Cervinka is kind of an unknown commodity this spring, but he'd pitch and do okay. Then he'd come out and pitch again, and Freddie said got a little better and got a little better. And then all of a sudden the Braves looked up and saw his total for the spring: 5 innings, 1 earned run, a 1.80 ERA.
One of the first stats they look at is walks. How many strikes he's got through. So far, so good tonight. He's gotten ahead of both Rendon and now Harper.
Popped up and headed for the stands.
Good breaking ball again in a good spot. One away from him.
In the 9th, the Braves will have Kelly Johnson, A.J. Przinsky, and Eric Ibar coming up. Papelbon, as Joe said, ready for Washington in their bullpen. First, the 1-2 pitch to Harper is cut out and missed. Bryce Harper struck out once all year. The Braves have punched him out twice, and we head to the 9th. Super fans will see a super comeback in the 9th inning. We'd love to talk about that with you on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. That follows our ball game, a game that's in the hands of the Nationals right now, 3-0 after 8. And Atlanta has to find a way to do something with the Nationals closer, Jonathan Papelbon.
Who's off to a really good start. 4 for 4. Got a night off last night. What could have been another save for him. No walks so far in his first 4 innings of work. And a strikeout per inning.
Kelly Johnson leads things off. Kelly got the start in left tonight. He's 0 for 3. That's off the plate. Ball 1. Anthony Rendon stays in the game to play third. Ball 2. Papelbon 353 lifetime saves. That's 11th on the all-time list. Took a little off and that found its mark.
Kelly making him throw a strike.
Split finger pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
We talked about when he pitched against the Braves in Atlanta. Papelbon doesn't throw as hard as he once did, but that split finger pitch has been a nice equalizer for him as an off-speed pitch, like a changeup.
There's a shot to right, but Harper is there to make a waist-high catch. They hit it hard, but Harper spoils the party. Join us April 23rd again. The Braves and Mets will hook up at Turner Field. It's the Skip and Pete Famous Calls bobblehead. Good seats are still available. Hope you'll join us. First 20,000 fans in attendance. We'll get that great looking gift.
Can't wait.
Here's AJ. He's 1 for 3. Braves have 4 hits. And a shot toward the gap in right center. That'll get down in front of Taylor. So AJ doesn't waste any time. A 2-hit night for the Braves catcher. He's now 7 hits away from 2,000 for the career.
Talked about AJ a couple of nights ago trying to set up Max Scherzer, maybe somebody in the bullpen. I can't remember which pitcher it was. Well, Kelly Johnson set him up for this one. Kelly stood there, waited for Papelbon to throw a strike. Papelbon assumes that Braves are going to take a strike since they're down by 3. Not AJ. He jumped in the fastball down the middle.
Double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. And Jonathan Papelbon seals the deal in the 9th inning as the Nationals hand the Braves their 8th straight loss to start the season. The Braves have lost 13 consecutive games at Nationals Park. Washington moves to 6-1 on the year as Tanner Roark outduels Matt Whistler by a final score of 3-0. A couple of home runs decided it. And we'll break it down for you when we come back.